Hi everybody, what's good? Hope everybody is doing great. Hope everyone is well. Um, just wanted to chat today again, and it's still Scorpio season. And I had this really crazy dream the other day. I was debating if I even wanted to go into like details of this dream, but long story short, the dream was showing me that I have parasites. That I probably have parasites. I wasn't always a heavy meat eater. I actually was more like 80% vegan. Ate some fish every now and again, and then I ate chicken once in a blue moon, right? But since I moved back home, I've been a much more of a meat eater just because that's what's there, and I don't really have too much money to buy anything else, to be honest. So, you know that saying, when in Rome. And so I noticed the other day there was this energy. I know I'm bouncing around a little bit, but this will make sense. I'm coming back to. I say earlier this week, I'm noticing a lot of people. A lot of people was feeling agitated. It just seemed like everyone was frustrated about something. I'm noticed like everyone around me is like fussing, and then maybe I'm also like kind of like fussing to myself about things, not necessarily fussing to anyone, but talking to myself. And so I decided, maybe I went to the store. This is a liquor store not too far from where I live, and a friend of mine asked me to get something for them. Of course, I was like, okay, and I went in there, and this guy decided, I don't know, he's giving me weird looks, and his girlfriend was giving me weird looks, and they started talking Spanish, and I'm just like, it just felt like everyone's in a funky mood and is looking for somebody to take their crap out on. I'm be honest with y'all. And so I said, let me pack my bag. I said, tomorrow I'm gonna go somewhere else, right? So I packed some stuff, hopped on a train to another neighborhood. So I'm like, I'm gonna spend the day somewhere else, and which I did. Actually got out to another park. I love that parks are free. I went out to another park. It was almost 80 degrees on the day before yesterday. So I'm like, it's one more good reason to actually just go be somewhere else, go chill, go be in nature, go lay in some grass, go take off my shoes. And so I did that. As I was laying there, mind you, this is a really huge park, and in the middle of this park we have what we call the Great Lawn. It's called the Great Lawn because it's a ginormous lawn. Like it's such a huge lawn that if we were to put people in there, if we were to stuff people in there and made them sit hip to hip, we could probably fit like 3,000 people on this lawn. Like, this is how large this lawn is. And it just so happened, like right where I'm sitting, right where I'm laying down and chillaxing, is where a school of kids, that's where they come to play, right? I guess it's around their recess time. This is, it's like late morning, early afternoon. And they're no bother to me, but I'm just like, that's an interesting coincidence. They're playing, like kids have this funny way. It's like regardless of how much space they have, it's just, like I just said, you could fit like 3,000 people on this lawn. That's how much space we have. But whatever reason, they're bouncing, they're kicking a soccer ball around, and they're literally just like moving around me so unnecessarily. But okay. I was too tired. I was too relaxed to let it bother me. But I'm getting the hint. I feel like spirit is talking to me, and I'm like, that's fine. So like that recess wasn't too long, and they went on about their life, and I decided to make my way over to the library that I haven't been to in a really long time. And so I'm like, let me look around, see what the resources are. And everybody was so sweet. Everyone was so polite, and everyone was so nice, right? So I'm like, okay, I definitely needed that change of scenery. And this is something I feel like Spirit's been telling me to do for a long time, and I've just not been doing it. And at one point, after I looked around, I got got what I was getting, I decided to sit outside for a little while. And it just so happened where I was sitting, there were a bunch of nannies, and they were with their children that they were babysitting, and they couldn't have been more than like 1 and 2 years old. The oldest one was probably 2, if that, to be honest. And where I was sitting, I was sitting right next to the like accessibility ramp. You know, like most buildings nowadays has a ramp for accessibility next to the staircase, and so the kids saw that as an opportunity to, you know, crawl up the stairs, run down the ramp, go around the circle, go back up the stairs. You know, like kids just find a way to like make a game out of anything, just running down this ramp. And it actually makes sense from the nanny's perspective. It's like, you know what, this is safe fun. So she got all the kids up. It's like, hey, let's everybody do this, because you know you gotta let kids run. You gotta let kids run. And I wasn't annoyed, but here I am again. The kids just feeling the need, they want to play around me, right? And I resist the urge to be annoyed, because I feel like Spirit is talking to me. And I don't know, I feel like I might have even mentioned this in other things, but it's like I tend to be really serious, and I tend to take life a little too seriously, and I forget to play. And sometimes I'm even call myself like waiting for people to play with, and it just feels like adults don't know how to play anymore. And so which is a large reason why I was even in the park at all. I wasn't necessarily playing per se, but I feel like Spirit was just like, okay, you got to the park, like why don't you play? I mean, I was carrying way too much stuff that day, and granted, that was another little thing I realized, and I'm like, I overpacked, and so the bag was too heavy. Bag was really heavy, and so I feel like Spirit is, you know, it's funny, like as somebody like myself who is considered like a free spirit, and someone who is an artist type, and I don't stay at jobs for very long. I feel like that's why I kind of jokingly talk about how the workaholics don't like me. But they don't realize that I'm actually kind of a workaholic myself, and I actually also take life a little too seriously, and I'm always taking very seriously like this spiritual work. And even now, like this is why I've been chatting more than just like pulling cards and stuff, because I don't really absolutely need cards. I like cards, they're fun, and I did pull some cards before I started, so I'm probably gonna I might mention some of the cards that I pulled at some point, but I just wanted to start with the chat. But I'm gonna just, you know, if anybody's resonating with this, it's like, yes, we're adults, and but we forget about the fun part of being spiritual. We forget about the fun part of raising your vibration. I even have friends that sometimes will hit me up and like DM me articles and things that they find, and I feel like every generation, and also various ethnic groups and backgrounds, have different names for the same thing, right? I feel like sometimes we get obsessed with the learning process so much that we forget to actually learn it. Like, we get obsessed with the looking up process, and then we mistake research for looking things up, and it's not necessarily the same thing, y'all. Okay, so, and I'm very big on taking my own advice, so and recognizing where I might have also been being stubborn in life and wanting to be serious, and always trying to figure out what work I need to be doing, and forgetting about the fun part of spirituality, and forgetting about the fun parts of life. Like, we don't always have to think so deeply about everything all the time. Playing is fun. Playing is fun, and give yourself permission to have some fun. When's the last time you've been on a swing? When's the last time you rode that bike? When's the last time you got on that skateboard? I mean, like, get out there and have some fun. And I'm also being reminded that life really is an illusion. All this stuff is an illusion. And I was just like, why and then when you think about it, like, why would they pick Scorpio season for election time anyway? Unless you're trying to spin an illusion. If you ask me, that's a terrible time. If I wanted clarity, I would probably maybe do it during like Aquarius season or like Gemini season, maybe even Libra season, right? Because Libra season is the scales of justice and fairness, right? And so I find that fascinating. I'm not going to talk too much about elections and voting because, again, it's all an illusion. It'll probably be the last election for a while, to be honest with you. Things are going to get really weird. And sometimes sometimes things are literally being, or things seem to be getting worse before they get better. And so, yeah, times might feel like they're getting worse, but that is life, right? Like, when you cut yourself, you get a bruise, right? And I'm actually mad I didn't show you my bruise sooner because it healed really fast. But a bruise can appear to be getting worse before it actually starts to get better. And so, like, I feel like what we're experiencing is the feeling of worse before the better, if that makes sense. And that's what illusions are for, right? There's two ways to win. I can literally win, or I can convince you that I've won when I haven't, if that makes sense. Like this stuff like that. So anyway, I'm just sharing life. Life is fascinating. Oh, and then the night after, that night of, I went to the park and had some good, I chilled and went home, ate, fell asleep. And I had the craziest dream that involved seeing the parasites. Like, I kid you not, it looked like in the alien movie, like in the literal alien movie when like the big alien comes out and it's like, ah, right? But it wasn't that dramatic. It was literally like a little worm. I kid you not. It was like a little worm was coming through my belly. Like, it just opened up. Like, it wasn't even through my belly button per se. It just, I was laying there, but it was like I was seeing myself. I was like out of my body, seeing myself laying down and seeing these little worm, not little, it was about as thick as a finger, push its way through the skin and come out my body. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And I ran over and I like stomped it out. Like when I see a cockroach, because I can't stand cockroaches, but at the same time, I can't let you just roam around my house. So I tend to like go like that. So I'm like, oh my God. And then a second one came out and I was like, hell no. And I went to grab it. I kid you not. I went to grab it and it bit me. It bit me. I'm like, ow. And I just like yanked it. And I was like, oh my God. And then another one came out. I'm like, oh my God, how many are there? So I'm like, okay, Spirit. I see what you did there. Right? Spirit. And I'm pretty sure I probably mentioned it like 10 times before that I've been needing to fast. And I'm like, okay, I need to do something deeper than just fast. I need to do a full detox. And then I'm also reminded of the phrase, as without, so within. Right? And I was thinking about, as I was walking over here, thinking about how the worm bit me. And so I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, oh crap. I wasn't making the connection between the irritation and the parasites. So I likely have parasites, and these parasites might actually be what's the word? Ornery. Alligators are ornery. They might actually just be angry little creatures, which is kind of a scary thought if you ask me. But maybe that spirit wanting to scare me to get me to take it seriously. And I have been taking it seriously. I took some sea moss last night. I wasn't playing. I woke up this morning, I took some more sea moss, and I kid you not, I accidentally DM'd a friend of mine who is a vegan, right? So I literally DM'd them by accident. And this person's not even at the top of the queue or anything. They responded to the DM, and then I looked, I was like, oh my God, did I send this? I don't even remember when I could have, because sometimes I do put my phone in my pocket and I'm like, okay, that's when that happened, but I have no idea when I even it wasn't in my pocket, like it was next to me, I thought, anyway. But so yeah, apparently I need to cut meat. I need to cut meat out of my diet. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this, but whatever, I'll figure it out, I suppose. I'll cut back at first, and then, you know, I'll wean it out little by little. I don't want to aggravate the little creatures. And then so I was thinking about the term that goes as within, so without, as without, so within, and how I've been dealing with actual parasites in my life. And so I'm like, huh. And some of them, you know, some of them are still watching. I know some of y'all might be busy. But I know some of them are still watching. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. As without, so within. As within, so without. I keep looking down because I was debating if I want to read this quote that I picked up clicking around the internet the other day. Just because it's a nice quote. It's nothing. Probably nothing like. It's probably nothing like. Probably nothing different from other quotes you've heard before. Is what I'm trying to say. But it coincides with today. Maybe Spirit is like, you don't need that quote. They stay messing with me, but anyway. See, now I can't find nothing. I was bound. Okay, this is the quote. I'm not going to tell you where the quote's from. I'm going to leave that one up to mystery. I was bound, though I have not bound. I have recognized that the all is being dissolved, both the earthly things and the heavenly things. Both the earthly things and the heavenly things. And it's like, and I'm not saying like heaven is dissolving, but I just kind of feel like, if nothing else, sometimes we need to let dissolve our old notions of things, our old ideas of things, or even, I think I even said in one of the other posts about suspending our belief in terms of suspending our belief in order to allow ourselves to be fully present right now, as opposed to allowing all this ideas and information or knowledge that we think we have to block us from actually just enjoying today, right now. This moment, laughing again. Maybe that sea moss has helped me being in a better mood right now. Because I definitely feeling a lot better. And I also noticed when I came home that everyone around me was calmer. And so now I'm starting to wonder if like the agitation around me was from me, right? Like if I was actually having an effect on everyone around me. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe I was having that effect on everyone around me, like the agitation that I keep pushing down, whatever frustration. I tend to push things down, frustrations about life. Maybe I am sometimes wanting to think of the glass half full too much and not acknowledging where I'm actually upset, where I'm actually frustrated, and it's okay to acknowledge that there are reasons to be upset. I think I'm actually pretty good at laughing things off majority of the time. And I feel like that's the side of me most people see. I feel like a lot of people don't really get a chance to see the part of me that actually takes things a lot too seriously. And I will seethe, seethe. Things will seethe and fester with me sometimes. I'll push things down. Maybe that is also kind of an Aquarius trait. Sometimes when someone wrongs us, we'll push down the frustration and the anger and then kind of blow up about it later. But I noticed since I spent that day in the park and came back, even everyone around me seemed calmer. So there's that. Calmer. Okay. And so that's interesting. And it's funny, so I decided to go ahead and pull some cards, right? And and essentially emphasizes the same thing, right? It starts here, right? The choking yourself up with all the thoughts, or maybe feeling confused about messages, and then like right after that, it goes into the star card, which is the Aquarius card. And I always think of Aquarius energy, even if you're not an Aquarius. I feel like if Aquarius energy is popping up for you, I always think of Aquarius as the sign of dancing to the beat of your own drum, the sign that is not afraid to be different and not afraid to be yourself. But I also feel like Spirit is like, forget all that, right? You can easily go from this to this. You can easily go from this to this by letting go and letting your light shine. Like, she's outside. She's it's almost like she's holding the light with this little string too. It's almost like when you get one of those balloons for your birthday. That's what it kind of starting to make me think of right now. And so like maybe it's time to celebrate. Maybe we're actually just forgetting to celebrate. Maybe we're actually feeling. It is possible to get so used to being stuck that it's hard to fully acknowledge that you're not stuck anymore, and to chillax. Get yourself one of those balloons just because. Oh my God, I just thought about that. I might do that one day. One day this week, next time I have a couple bucks. I buy myself a happy birthday balloon even though it's not my birthday, right? And this is one of my favorite cards, and this card came out right after. So what's he doing? Laughing. I mean, there's a deeper meaning behind this card, but I actually want to stay on the surface right now. Because remember I said everything ain't got to be so deep, so everything don't got to be so deep all the time, right? And so this is also, I feel like this being a woman here and a man here is also like masculine and feminine. Balancing out your energies, balancing out these energies, balancing out the masculine and the feminine, understanding that there's time to play and there's a time to work, there's a time you can, there's things you can laugh it off, like these the agitators doesn't have to get to you, right? It doesn't have to get to you. You can just kind of like you can remember that life is an illusion. You can remember that life is an illusion, and it's really our attention that actually makes it more real, and it's our fixation on certain things that can actually make it even more frustrating. And the card that came out right after that was this Lover's card. So like maybe Lover's card doesn't necessarily have to represent relationship. Like maybe there's some connection. Maybe it's time to date again. Maybe you're like me and you just have not been dating for a really long time. Because again, taking life a little too seriously, and really just me being afraid of ending up in a situation where I'm with someone who's gonna delay me even further. Because I feel like my life, and then maybe life went exactly the way it went, and it's really just a feeling. But I feel like my life has been derailed and delayed in so many ways already, and I'm finally finally gathering myself. And so I've been avoiding dating, to be honest with you, because I don't want any disruptance to that. Almost to the point of fear. I'm almost afraid. I've become almost even afraid to date. And so like maybe it's time to get out there and make connections again. And but I feel like this also represents. Remember I just said about the masculine and feminine, the balancing out the masculine and feminine. So to me, the Lover's card also represents finding that balance within. Marrying yourself, so to speak, but loving yourself, loving up on yourself, being a team player with yourself, sharing with yourself, but also maybe it is also time to connect with others. Maybe it's also time to connect with others as you've elevated to this like new, they say new levels, new devils. Where I feel like it's also true, where it's like with new levels, there should also be new partners, new friends, new uplifters, new motivators, new friendships, new positive connections as well. And then, and I'm almost not surprised to see this card, because it's also, to me, represents a lot of that similar energy of play, allowing yourself to feel like a kid again. And dogs have a way of doing that, like babies and dogs. They have a way of, yeah, like inviting us to play. Like, that dog doesn't care. The dog doesn't assume because you have gray hairs in your head that you don't play, right? The dog doesn't say, "Hey, how old are you? Do you want to play with me?" Like, no, the dog just brings your toy and is waiting for you to play. You could be 80, you could be 90, be 100, you could be in a wheelchair. They will work with you. They will give you that ball to throw anyway, right? The dogs have been popping up a lot lately too, even though they really are everywhere, but dogs have been popping up a lot lately as well. To me, the number 6 is very much like self-healing. I'm also seeing these bowls, so like maybe you're like me. I'm a sound healer, and I'm probably repeating myself like for the 8th time, but I have not been using my bowls. So I actually took one of my bowls out with me the other day. So I'm like, these aren't getting any sun and light, but it's one thing I also love about dogs. What I love about dogs is that I consider them to be very sentient, right? They're very sentient. They're not very filtered, is what I'm getting at, right? It's generally pretty obvious what they're feeling. They're feeling sad, it shows. If they're happy, it shows. You know, their tail wags a certain way. If they're sad, they face slumps a certain way. And there's something so refreshing about that. I feel like it's one of the reasons why we love dogs. There's something so refreshing about that. And just how non-judgmental they are. They understand love. They understand love. Love can come in, unfortunately we still live in a world of a lot of bigotry and prejudices. And if you ask me, you're only just cutting yourself off from all the amazing connections you could have had with people who are just people. Like, if you ask me, it's childish. It's like, when are we going to grow up? When are we going to grow up from this bigotry? I mean, like, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, but you get what I'm saying. So maybe be open to making connections with people outside of your race, outside of your neighborhood, outside of, maybe be open. Maybe Spirit is trying to bring some connections into your life that seem unlikely. So one thing I appreciated about DJing, because I DJed for a long time, is as a DJ, you're just being hired to DJ parties, right? And so I've done, stuff at nonprofits, stuff at bars, restaurants, somebody's backyard. I've DJed in junior high school. I did like a junior high school Halloween festival once. I was in a parade once, and I feel like it brought me into like so many different kinds of people's worlds, and allowed me to connect with different kinds of people. So I made friends. I made connections with people, just like white guys that are like 10 years older than me. And like, I remember, I think I could say his name is Don. I don't know your last name. I remember making a connection with this guy named Don, and he would look at me in the eyes, and he just kind of like, he could actually read me. And I was almost surprised, because in my mind, I kind of assumed that a white person couldn't read me like that. But he would say things like, "Oh, you're this, and I can see you're like that, and I can see you're doing this, and I can see," I'm like, so this person was absolutely amazing. And so I'm hearing that, just like, not just, in other words, I'm not just relating to the person, I'm actually even relating to the dog right now in this picture. It's like, be the dog. Be the dog. Be the dog. Wag your tail. I'm half joking when I say wag your tail. You don't gotta wag your tail. But you know what I'm saying? Like, be the dog sometimes. Dogs are just, they're very much in the moment. They're very much in the moment. And they're always wanting to enjoy the moment. You notice? If you look sad, they wanna cheer you up. They feel vibration. That's why I consider our dogs to be very sentient. Now, it's one of the reasons I'm able to connect with them at all, because I understand that I understand how to understand how to connect with them beyond the surface, beyond me just barking commands. Right now, they're feeling what I'm feeling, and so you can shift them with you. You can shift them by shifting you. You'd be surprised. But and then what are they doing? Playing this drums. It's funny that this card come out too, because I recently just was clearing out my storage unit. And I just pulled out a drum. I have 2 drums, and the one I have upstairs actually broke. And this other drum's been sitting in my storage unit for the last 4 years, and somehow it stayed intact the entire time. Because when things get hot, cold, it could actually cause it to warp a bit. And so that drum is intact. It might not be in perfect tune, but it doesn't have to stop me from playing it, does it? No. I can play it because it's fun to play. And then I'm also seeing this horse. Wands is fire. So it's like, maybe embrace your wild side, right? Which is also true of me. Like I said, that's one thing people don't assume about me, because I'm almost done. It's a little windy. I'm trying to do my best to enunciate and get through it before everything gets knocked over. But I'm really almost done. So like I said, like me being somewhat of a free spirit and a healer type, people tend to assume that I can't also be kind of a workaholic. I can also be the kind of person that takes life too seriously. Because I'm always trying to think of a project or a thing that I could do to make money, a thing that I could do. And you know what I mean? I'm always plotting and scheming. Never on anybody, but always plotting and scheming, trying to plot and scheme ways of like just making my life shift for the better. And sometimes sometimes we allow the lack of help, maybe a lack of support we feel like we're getting from people, to forget that we are getting plenty support from spirit, and also forgetting that there are other people in the world. Forgetting that there's other people in the world, and maybe it's time to just kind of go out and roam and allow yourself to meet other people. Not on some gold digger crap, but on some just making new connections. And like I said, if there's such thing as new levels, new devils, then there's also such thing as new levels, new supporters, new friends, new fans, new neutral people. You'd be surprised how many people are really just neutral. I appreciate neutral people too. They're just there, and they're sometimes are in the right time, at the right place at the right time, and we'll just do a thing because you were there. That's what they were doing that day, and it was super helpful. It gets like that sometimes. But yeah, this horse. This horse, there's no saddle, nobody's riding it, right? This is the Knight of Wands, right? And I feel like in a traditional deck, the knight is riding the horse. But in this case, no one's riding the horse. The horse is running wild and free. And she got, she's on fire playing this drum. Literally, the drum is lighting up on fire. It's like, especially as creative folks, like, we can really block ourselves creatively too by getting too serious too fast. Just getting too serious sometimes. It's supposed to be fun, right? Like, there are things in life you need to be serious about, but it's like, be serious about the serious things, and then other times, why can't we also be having fun? Why can't life be fun too? Maybe you hate your job, but you don't have to hate the entire day. We can take on hobbies that allows us to have fun. Right? Blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying. You know exactly what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe I'll pull one of these dragon cards too, just because they're out here. To be honest, I've been on Instagram. I've been doing this thing where I'm like memorizing songs, and I be singing, even though I can't sing. Sometimes I'll like record myself skateboarding, even though I'm not that great at that either. And I'm just also, you know, I'm trying to knock out multiple birds at the same. See, maybe that's also me being serious again, wanting to knock out multiple birds with the same stone, by like having fun, but also like posting myself more, posting my face more, as opposed to hiding. So I guess I'm not doing that terrible of a job. Like, I am having an okay time. I am in a better mood today. Let me see. It brings you a higher level so that you can. Oh, that's sweet. I'm not gonna say that one. Let's keep shuffling. Well, that's deep. I don't know if we need to get that deep yet. Bathes you in divine feminine light. Bathes you in divine feminine light. Divine feminine light. Bathes you in divine feminine light. That's interesting that came out. Out. It's windy. I'm almost done. I promise. I'm really about to be done. That's interesting. All right. I'll share with you the one I didn't see. That was me. That was me being me again. The first one that came out, it actually says golden crested dragon. Golden crested dragon. Essentially a golden dragon. I also wanted to use the dragon cards during Scorpio season. Remember I said dragons are magical? So it brings you higher love so that you embody the Christ light. Absorb the Christ light. You are protected. Expand your heart and remain fifth dimensional. Say that again. Golden crested light. Golden crested dragon brings you higher loves so that you embody the Christ light. Absorb the Christ light. You are protected. Expand your heart and remain fifth dimensional. Exactly. So when we talk about Christ light, this is not a Bible, okay? This is a tarot card. Not a Bible. We're talking about unconditional love. I feel like at the very basis of the Christ teaching is about embodying unconditional love. I actually feel like that's why dogs are named dogs. Dog is the anagram for God. G-O-D, D-O-G, right? God represents unconditional love. It represents high vibrational love. And so we named dogs after God because we felt like dogs was a gift from God, because dogs love unconditionally like God, right? And so I feel like Christ, again, I'm not gonna go all into conspiracy theorizing and blah blah blah, just the very basic. I feel like the basicness of it was about loving yourself. The I am what I am, and that's all I am, right? Didn't Popeye say that? I am what I am, and that's all that I am, and blah 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 blah. So I actually feel like the Christ statement about I am is the way. I personally feel like that means my I am is my way. In other words, being myself, going within, learning to love myself unconditionally so that I can be more of my authentic self, which allows me to vibrate the highest possible. And it says stay fifth dimensional. So if you know you're already vibrating at 5th dimension, stay there and recognize if there's some folks around you, or if you're entertaining any bad habits or anything that could be lowering your vibration. Cut them off. Stop it. Right? Stay 5th dimensional. We need you to stay there, because Scorpio is also karma season. So if you've got some good karma coming towards you, It's like if you're expecting something, right? You order some food and you're expecting something, you're gonna do stay by the phone. And so if you've been being good and you know you got some good karma coming towards you, Spirit is like, stay ready, stay high vibrational, continue loving yourself, continue embodying. I'll take that as a confirmation. Helicopter. When I think of helicopters, I think of not just flight, but helicopters are more agile than an airplane, right? Airplane goes like this, and then if an airplane needs to turn, it needs to be like this. Whereas a helicopter, similar to what I said about motorcycles, right? So I feel like we're preparing for life to speed up. I feel like we're preparing for life to speed up, and Spirit wants you to keep your vibration high and kind of like, stay lighthearted, right? Playing allows you to stay lighthearted, and it's fun. It feels good to play. It feels good to laugh. It feels good to enjoy. I also feel like no coincidence we got a little bit of hot weather. I'm sorry, I need to fix this. We're almost done, I promise. I feel like it's no coincidence we got a little bit of hot weather out here in New York. It was 80 degrees in November. Like, I mean, sure, we can talk about weather machines and bliggity blah. You can actually just go outside and enjoy it. Go outside and play like the kids do. The way they're able to just kind of like make up games and just win or lose, you had fun. But yeah, I feel like helicopters. I've never ridden in a helicopter. Like that would be fun. Like maybe I can add that to my list of things that I can do, that I would like to do that I've never done. But yeah, I feel like unlike airplanes, helicopters are able to float, go up and down, kind of go left and right. So I feel like that's a message to stay agile, stay flexible, stay, you can move. They're just like, you're not an airplane, you're a helicopter. Maybe you needed to hear like that you're not as stuck as you think you are. All right, you're not as stuck as you think you are. Sometimes we're really just so used to being stuck that we haven't let it go, which is why I mentioned the detoxing, right? Maybe not just detox your body, but detox your life, okay? Like, I've had conversations with people who is constantly detoxing. They're always talking about herbs that they bought. I'm taking this herb, and I'm taking this herb, and I'm taking this herb. But then every time we have a conversation, they tell me about a situation that they just had, and it's like, don't just detox your body, detox your life. But I actually wrote something. What I wrote was, if you know you're coming out of survival mode, it's time to detox the survival mode, right? Like, that was, you needed to survive. It's like a perfect example is someone in prison. You had to be locked up. Maybe you were wrongfully in prison, and that absolutely sucks. And maybe you are gonna get justice, even if it might feels like you won't. But in the meanwhile, you still gotta survive the day to day until the justice happens, right? So the lawyer comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm gonna get you out of here. You're not supposed to be in here. I'm getting you out." And you're like, "Okay." They said, "But it's not gonna be an overnight process. I need you to survive. I need you to just make it day to day. Just try your best to try to be good. Try to stay out of fights. Try to stay out of trouble. Try your best." And so, everybody knows in prison that like cigarettes is damn near currency, right? So I actually know a few people who've been to prison and they smoked when they was in prison, and when they got out, they quit smoking, right? It's like, that was my coping mechanism for that situation, and I don't need it anymore. And so, maybe do an inventory. Maybe are there some habits you're still doing that you don't need to do anymore because you're not in that survival mode anymore. You know what I'm saying? Remember I said Scorpio's karma season, and so the first was Day of the Dead, right? And so that old contract is over. That old contract is deaded. right? You survived. You're still here. If you're still here, you did it. It's done. The contract is done. The contract is deaded. And now it's time to detox that old story. It's time to detox the old story. It's time to detox the frustration. It's time to detox the people. It's time to detox the old habits. And yeah. Love up on yourself and let new people come into your life and love you properly, and that's okay. It's okay. All right, I think that's it. Thank you, everybody.